It's lights out and away we go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the GT UK F1 podcast. I'm joined by David.
Hey everyone.
Well, whether that worked or not, we don't know. Obviously,
Sounded better from my side.
yeah. Just a quick reminder, don't forget wherever you get your podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, RSS.com, and Samsung Podcasts. Unfortunately, not Apple.
Not yet.
No. But obviously, we release the episodes every Wednesday at 3 PM when there is a race. So,
Singapore, yep.
What's up?
An interesting circuit since it joined the calendar, I do feel.
So, the whole thing of adding 4 DRS zones.
Yeah, that was something that came as a shock to me. I don't think even the game had that, did it? Because I thought it would have been a real late.
They were expecting more overtaking.
Really? What did I give you that impression?
I don't feel it produced, to be honest.
It wasn't. Especially after the rather electrifying Baku we had not a week ago.
Yeah.
This did feel like a bit of a crash back down to earth.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just me, but I think I did snooze to about the last 10 laps, whereas at Baku I couldn't if I'd have wanted to.
And obviously we didn't see any practice sessions.
We always say, and I'll say personally for me, just because of work and that, it's quali in the race. Quite often it's quali on catch-up, but I just don't have the time for the practice sessions, unfortunately.
I did hear a lizard interrupted one of the practice sessions. So I've seen on the clips.
Yeah, I see bits and pieces like that on Facebook, man. I know which one I know what you're on about. Oh.
And where they even overlaid.
From what I understand, practicing, I didn't hear of any big accidents or anything. I don't think anybody majorly binned it, not until quali anyway.
But
I mean, you broke up a little bit through that, so
I didn't really say much. I was just about to say, but
you tell we're maybe struggling a little bit here.
For some.
we're not on our usual setup, folks.
No.
A bit behind the curtain, and it's just
not playing ball for some reason.
No, you're really robotic to me then through that one.
According to the thing, I'm not. It's weird. We're gonna soldier on and try our best with this.
Yeah, so let's keep straight on to the qualifying. Like I say, it's the bit that we can both actually talk about. Now, of course, the qualifying, obviously the night races give us some very interesting differences. A few different colour schemes, but the first I saw of it, I noticed the McLarens were running a slightly different colour scheme. And did the Alpine change theirs last week, or was it just me? They suddenly look very different to me.
Not sure. No, McLaren did.
McLaren went from black to white on the sides.
Red Bull were going to, but then dropped it because of weight.
And Mercedes running that Petronas livery that made them look a little Aston Martin in some angles.
Yeah. I mean, qualifying wasn't even exciting.
When you look at Q1, there wasn't really anything out of the ordinary. Danny Ricciardo, possibly, you would suggest? Wouldn't fully expect him to be out, but basically, the usual suspects down there: Stroll, Pierre Gasly, the two Saubers at the back, and Danny Rick. Now, cracking performance from the Haas guys. I must admit, the Haas was performing well
Yeah.
this weekend. I mean, we're getting a little bit out. Hulkenberg was actually the highest placed Ferrari engine car this weekend. For qualifying.
I mean, do you think Sauber have given
He's
up at
always
this point?
entertaining. I wouldn't say give up. I mean, let's be honest, they're not miles and miles behind, but do you reckon more focus has gone on to next year when Audi come in?
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? I could believe that sort of focus has shifted more to the 2025 car.
Okay, I'm
But
now confused.
doesn't take a lot.
No, well, I know why Sainz got a DNS.
Yeah, 'cause he chucks it at a wall.
But why is it saying Leclerc got a DNF?
He had his lap time deleted. You know, Carlos Sainz actually did not start DNS.
Yeah, that's what I said, but Leclerc had DNF.
Leclerc had that very last lap time he did. Yeah, that very last lap time he actually had deleted.
I was surprised at Williams not getting through.
I wasn't, but we know that Williams is. I think we had some strong. I mean, let's be honest. We all expected Red Bull to be nowhere near,
Well,
and yet, Verstappen especially managed to actually wrestle it round with fairly good pace. I mean, we're only being 2/10 off.
yeah.
Lando by the end of Q3. Sergio's 13th wasn't as good, but based on last year's performance, I think we all expected them to be well down.
Yeah. I mean, there's been Did you notice all the, even in quali, all the radio chat?
Not overly.
Well, it wasn't.
No, I feel what you're aiming at there. There
wasn't full of swearing. I suppose you
didn't have to repeat. I'm afraid you.
I said it wasn't full of swearing.
Yeah, well, Max got in trouble. Was it a press conference for that?
For the fact that he now has to.
Is this going on? Is this going to be another one like the fireproof underpants argument from a few years ago?
Is this going to be like the jury?
It's going to become a little running battle with the FIA.
Well, Max got
yeah,
bollocked.
the jury and the
Max got bollocked for swearing during the press conference.
For language in an interview, I heard that.
Then basically proceeded to not answer any questions while holding an FIA microphone. And then basically said to the journalist, if you've got any questions for me, I'll answer them outside. Was what Max had said. But I noticed everybody.
So really sweet. Oh, is it?
Well, yeah. But I'd noticed everybody's radio language. There was hardly any swearing. I suppose you'd heard about what the FIA president had said. Which
I didn't know the exact words to hand, no, but
he caused. He caused controversy, major controversy.
Well, the FIA did. Now that's a surprise. We're going to get one of your patented FIA rants again.
Well, Hamilton weighed in on it, by the way.
I like surprise. You know, Hamilton enjoys a good controversy to get involved in.
Yeah, but to be honest, I kind of don't blame him. I wanted to see if I could you sort of lead a minute just while I quickly find what was said. Oh, that was it. Got it. When my phone
You got it.
when my phone wants to work, which right now it doesn't. So basically, Hamilton has accused the FIA president. I'm not going to say his name because I butcher it every time. I'll just call him Ben.
Al Saeed in it, something like that.
Mohammed Ben Sulayem it is. Of using stereotypical language with a racial slur in his racial element. Sorry, not a slur.
Right, I don't have to do some reading on this because I don't.
In his attempts to stop broadcast of swearing during Formula One races. Ben Sulayem, the head of motorsport's governing body, said F1 had to differentiate between our sport, motorsport, and rap music.
Differentiate.
Yeah. Between our sport, motorsport, and rap music. And then Hamilton quit back with saying rappers is very stereotypical. If you think about it, most rappers are black.
Apologies, hadn't done that on silent yet.
You what? I didn't hear it.
I said apologies, my phone just bleeped. I'd forgot to put it.
Oh, I didn't hear it. So when it says we are not like them,
I think
those are the wrong choice of words. There is a racial element there, and the FIA hasn't responded. But apparently, he's also suggested that drivers could be hit with penalties for swearing over team radio in races.
Now, when adrenaline and emotions are running high, I think that's ridiculous myself.
Because they're always bleeped out, anyways, which delays the transmission.
That's it. When it comes to 99% of the time, the odd one gets missed, but it's very rare.
Yeah. And he turned around and said, we're not rappers, you know. They say the F word how many times per minute? We are not on that. That's them. And we are us, was what he'd said. And to be honest, several drivers have pushed back. Max being one of them.
I'm not surprised.
Hamilton. I mean, and then I don't know who said this. You have to probably limit it all. I think this is Max. Or have a bit of delay. You can censor out a few things that will help a lot more than putting bans on drivers because, for example, I couldn't even say the F word. And then, excuse me for the language, but come on, what are we? 5-year-olds? 6-year-olds? even if a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old is watching, I mean they will eventually swear anyways, even if their parents won't, or they will not allow it. When they grow up, they'll walk around with their friends and they will be swearing. So it's not changing anything. And his title rival Lando Norris of McLaren said they can just not play radios, so it's quite simple from their side. We are the guys in the heat of the moment, under stress, under pressure, fighting, having big crashes.
Like I said, is there a big problem in the current system where it gets delayed?
No. It's just, the problem is...
I personally don't think there is.
No, this is just Mr. Arabman trying to put his mark on the FIA, and it's remarkably failing.
Yeah, it sounds that way a little bit to me as well.
I'm sorry, but if Jean Todt was still head of the FIA, you would not see that shit.
You'd have told him to F off.
He probably would have done.
To be quite frank.
Because at the end of the day, I agree with Lando. I agree with Max. I agree with Hamilton.
I feel that they're racing drivers. The adrenaline's running, what's going on. You can't expect them to be able to just perfectly curtail and think about what they're saying. That's not how humans work.
No. I mean, everybody else seemed to manage the radio messages, apart from George. Typical George, but you know what I mean? It's just, it's silly. I get they want to try and keep the sport family friendly, but I'm sorry. There's a few drivers there. If a few drivers walked away from this sport, so would the fans. Hamilton?
I think they lose more than just what they lose from the odd swear word here and there.
Well, yeah. Hamilton.
That's one of the big things. That's one of the big things that Liberty Media have pushed in it. It's the people as much as the sport now, far more than it ever was.
Yeah. So
that's been part of what Liberty have really tried to.
You've got Hamilton, the likes of Hamilton, Max,
try to press.
Lando, probably Oscar as well, Alonso, the two Ferrari guys. Perez, maybe. You've got a lot of fans who follow these guys, and they were to walk away. That's a lot of fan base gone. You think? Look at.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Look at how much damage it would do to Zandvoort if Max was no longer in the sport.
Oh yeah, and you can. Let's be honest. Now you've got Oscar doing the same thing. You can imagine Australia. It's amazing what he does for the sport. I mean, Logan Sargent, like him or loathing, probably did a lot to help American interest.
He probably did.
I'm calling it out. I don't think it'll be long till we have another American driver in the sport.
Why are you thinking?
I think Liberty will want it as much as.
Depends on teams. So I'm gonna.
Well, we're all surprised when Cadillac and Andretti didn't get that.
There's something I will bring up when we get into the race. After the race, very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the reason why we're just padding a lot of random crap again is because qualifying just wasn't special.
Yeah. I say, you gotta say credit to Yuki getting into Q3 up to a say Hulkenberg in 6th being the highest placed Ferrari engine car.
Yeah, but like I say, considering.
I think give Max, considering we're all expecting Singapore to be Red Bull's Achilles heel, Max was right there.
Oh yeah.
There seems to be this weird thing at the moment, where The Mercs especially, they seem to have a couple of races where they're right there, then they seem to disappear again.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know, Baku and that, we didn't seem to see much of them, yet here, the third and fourth.
Yeah.
But moving on to the race now, I will say, do you have anything else for qualifying, or shall we?
I've got nothing to really add for qualifying apart from, Lando did a stellar lap. Other than that. But that's it really. Apart from Sainz's incident where Stroll was.
Yeah, Sainz. Yeah, a rare mistake from Sainz. I tell you what, I think they were very lucky that didn't damage the gearbox.
Hmm.
When you look at the way that back wheel got snapped around, I was sure it would have done the gearbox in.
Yeah.
But they never got the penalty, so I'm assuming they never had to change one.
No, they still kept the starting positions.
Yeah, a rare mistake. Still kept the same box. Yeah, because like I said, they didn't change the box, it'd have been starting at the back.
Hmm.
So obviously when they checked it was alright. I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah. So, get into the race.
So I say, the race start now, I was actually very surprised that we got through the first corner without any major incident, I will say.
Well, yeah.
We had a couple of cars that ran a little bit wide to avoid, but we actually had no
No
big collisions.
problem was. We seem to be seeing less mistakes as well.
What did you not hear in commentary? They said we haven't had a safety car for 9 races.
This is what I mean.
That's pretty nuts when you think about it.
But Singapore is usually a track for a safety car.
Usually one that, yeah, because of how tight twisty now. We had a couple of little mistakes, but nothing.
Hmm.
We saw Lando make a rare mistake at one point,
Oof.
and luckily got away with it.
But the problem was Lando had the gap to do it. I think things would have been different if Max had been right behind him.
Max has been right there, yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have got away
Yeah, I know
with
what you
it.
mean.
So to go on to obviously a couple of DNFs, was Albon's overheat? Or was that K-Max?
That's what the team claim wanted, that it overheated. Now, they reckon it might have got something in the side pod.
Yeah.
Obviously, I cannot confirm that. I have no information, but they seem to reckon he might have picked something up into the side pod, and that caused it to. Well, apparently it was very hot out there, as it always is, and there's not a lot of wind, so you don't get amazing cooling at the best of times. Of course, as we know, F1 cars don't run fans; they rely on the airflow to chill the radiators.
And they seem to just, I don't know what it is with Singapore, the time of year that they do it, it just seems to wipe the drivers out completely, because apparently I'd heard something to do with Hamilton and even Russell falling.
I think it's one of them things where no matter what time of year you do it, it's going to. It's just such, because it's never really a cold place,
No.
and then it's just such a grueling. It's like, it's like an hour. It was nearly an hour and 45 minutes. One of the longest races time wise
Yeah.
of the season.
But to be honest, it wasn't special. I know we sound a bit downbeat here, guys, but it was just...
No one said downbeat. No, like I say, just maybe almost our standards because we had such a great vacuum. It made what wasn't a brilliant. I mean, I'm just looking at the race results here, and I missed. Why did K-Mag retire?
That's what I'm wondering.
What actually happened there?
don't
Because I
know.
must have missed that bit.
That's what's confusing me.
It says on lap 57.
I'm just gonna have to do a quick... Oh, it was a puncher. K-Mag had a puncher.
I'm just reading the F1 site now, trying to figure it out.
He had a puncher. Did K-Mag.
And they decided to retire the car rather than
Send him
mess
out.
around. Fair enough, I couldn't remember. Yeah, it probably wasn't worth it. If we ended up that far behind and down, it wasn't worth risking either an accident or something happening.
Yeah, he come around a corner and it one of the concrete walls. But it didn't seem, only seemed the lightest of taps. But it was enough to cause a puncher then. But, yeah.
Yeah. You'd have to say that it's also kind of gutting for Albon. I mean, it was the closest race to his home.
Yeah.
I think he was really hoping for good things, and the retirement through not really any fault of his own. It wasn't how he wanted to finish that day.
No, I mean, there was an interesting battle between Hulkenberg Perez and Carla Pinto, though.
Oh, there was one there. I mean, Carla Pinto getting a lot of praise off Perez there about how difficult it was to overtake.
Yeah.
As we say, the young lad's impressing so far. I must say, it's a real shame he at this point doesn't actually have a drive for next year, because I think he's proving a lot.
Well, he doesn't
Proving a lot of cause why he should be in a car next season.
Yeah, he doesn't have a drive yet. I mean, there's still time.
Oh yeah, of course there is. But like I say, as I've said to you, if the rumours are true about Daniel Ricciardo and Liam Lawson, well, you got to wonder where they plan to fit him into the equation.
Well, whose academy is he under?
Sauber and I'm gonna guess Mercedes if he's in a Williams. Apparently, James Vowles, he's part of Williams' young driver program, which I'm guessing kind of puts you on the Mercedes program, really.
Hmm. Well, you could stick him against bloody Hulkenberg in the Sauber, because there's not many seats left.
Well, the two places we know are left are the Sauber and the RB, don't we?
Yep.
As far as I'm aware, they're the only two seats which are yet unconfirmed.
Yeah. Because obviously you've got Antonelli, Mercedes.
Now, Antonelli's going into the Merc. You got Behrman going into the Haas. Behrman and Ocon.
Yeah.
That's why, have Alpine confirmed who's replacing Ocon? Yeah, have I missed that one?
Doing. Jack Doohan.
Doing that's it, yeah, I knew. I felt like I'd heard something.
Yeah, it was Jack Doohan. Obviously, Sainz has got a Williams. Hamilton got a Ferrari. I mean, Perez's future's still not... Yes, he's got the contract, but it's not
Yeah, but they say he's got a contract at the end of next year, don't they?
2026.
I don't think they'll drop him unless. I don't think they'll drop him unless something really drastic. We know a lot of the Red Bull team's work is to try and placate Max, and I think Perez does that.
Yeah, but Max isn't. I mean, fair play. You know, Max had a good Singapore considering what it was last year.
That's what I'm saying. We were expecting them to get absolutely hammered, and it actually seemed to not happen.
Yeah. The Ferraris were. I expected the Ferraris to come flying through.
Ferrari seems to be struggling. I think the bad qualifying hurt them, though.
Mm.
The qualifying put them on the back foot, and I just don't think they ever fully recovered from it.
No.
Now, Leclerc spent far, far, far too long caught behind Alonso.
You think Alonso was going to give that place up without a fight?
I did hear a nice patent copyright Crofty cock up when he was watching. I think it was Sainz and Stroll, and called it Leclerc and Alonso.
Yeah.
About halfway through the race.
Mm.
But fair play, he's just back from his wedding. He's allowed to make a mistake or two.
Yeah, but imagine how hard it would be, you know.
And I do have.
Like, it's dark. There's only certain identifiers on each car. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh no. I'm taking the P here. I fully appreciate especially the fact that it happened to be a Ferrari and an Aston again.
Yeah. And what were you gonna say?
Well, no, I was gonna say, I question. I was wondering in this moment that decision to hit Danny Rick onto some softs to get the fast lap. Where do you reckon that came from?
I think it could have been.
Do we reckon there was a little play by the
First
main
team.
Red Bull team there to sort of like?
Yeah, it could have been basically, can you do us a favour?
I don't think Daniel would have got a point from it, will he? Because
No.
I think he was still outside.
Danny Rick was 18th in the end. But to
18th.
to nick.
So he wouldn't get the point, but he took the point off Norris.
Yeah. Guess who got driver of the day as well?
Danny Rick.
He got quite choked up in that end of race interview.
Did he? I must have. I didn't.
Yeah, in the pen.
I didn't actually see. 'Cause I had other stuff to get on with. So literally, once the race finished, I was.
Yeah, in the pen. He was nearly in tears. Poor lad. Jesus.
So do you reckon he's true? Then do you reckon we'll be seeing Lawson in the car, or?
I mean, it's like I said to you before we started recording. I can't turn around and say, well, it's a bit stupid to swap him out for the remaining races because look at what happened between Sargent and Calapino.
Yeah, like I said, I've never been the biggest fan of mid-season driver swaps because I always say it doesn't give a driver a chance to really get a full set. But to be fair, with the likes, I said, Ricardo, he's been in the sport long enough. And I've been a big thing about some of these drive, how we need to start getting the young guys through, and how the likes of Behrman and Calapinto are fully proving that these young guys are ready.
Antonelli, not so much.
Antonelli, yeah, let's give him a chance.
Going back to Monza, 12 minutes in and bends the frigging car.
I willing to give him a shot for more, because like I say, yeah, but how long would me or you last in that situation? Probably not much longer.
Probably not, no, because they don't drive with traction control. You know, I mean, they're driving machinery that has no traction control. Our normal vehicles.
No traction control, no ABS, no.
You know, Our normal vehicles we drive do have
But yeah,
TC, do have ABS.
Oh yeah, even the very big vans all have all that gear on these days. It's
That's what I mean. But to be driving something that's 1,000 horsepower or whatever they class it as, with no traction control, finite throttle control.
yeah, they class it as 1,000 though.
Yeah, that weighs probably.
Some very grippy tires though to help out.
Yeah. But overall,
Yeah, if it was Danny Rick's last race, you know what, he will be missed around the paddock, but I don't think it'll be the last we'll see of him.
I think he's still with. I think he goes back on the reserve, doesn't he? He'll go back to the reserve role with Red Bull.
Yeah, he'll still be in that role if that ever comes up to a.
But it's just like, yeah. You gotta think though, like the likes of, I don't want to say it because Alonso, Alonso's getting old, but Alonso proves that he's still got it.
Alonso's performing though. It's like some people, Hamilton's, Perez. There's a few of the old ones now. The ones who are still performing, Perez can be 50-50 on that one.
At times, yeah.
But
McLaren's.
there's just times I think when they need to start thinking about the future a little bit more. We've got a lot of young guys who are obviously very ready and very capable.
Yeah,
Let's start getting them through. Let's start seeing what they can do.
Kick Stroll like the Aston Martin.
That would help, but unfortunately I can't overly see that one happening, sadly.
No. I mean, the big change for Aston Martin will be 2025, 2026. Especially with now Newey on board.
Oh yeah. I don't think 2025 will be that because when does Newey officially start? Has he started now or?
March. He starts sometime in March.
Yeah, so the 2024 car he's having no. And I honestly don't think, with the budget cut, I don't think there'll be that much of his big influence in the 2025 car.
I think there will be. Come mid-season.
I think it'll start moving in the direction he wants, but I think it'll be 26 before we really see an Adrian Newey Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, I feel that next year's car, especially as we've said before, there's the big rule changes coming in at the end of next year. Yeah.
Mm.
Nobody's going to go out of the way to overly develop a car next year.
No.
So you'll have budget caps, you'll have wind tunnel limiting times, all the rest of it. So I just think all that will lead to we'll see probably a little bit of a move forward as he starts to take role, but I don't expect to see Aston Martin up there winning races. And as we said, for 2026, it's all bets are off, really. Because none of us know what could go on there. Haas could come out of the blocks with the fastest car by a mile.
So obviously McLaren is at the top of the constructors. With
there is now a 52-point gap between Max and Lando. It's getting closer, but I'm still not sure if it's catching fast enough.
Lando would have to win every race.
Lando needs a max DNF to really bring himself.
Yeah. Technically, for Lando to do it, he'd have to win every race, the sprints, and have fastest lap points. Every race.
Unless, like I said though, if Max gets a DNF or something and Lando wins it, all of a sudden, boom, that gap's halved. You know what I mean? In one race. I'm not saying it's not possible.
Well, actually, no. Was my thing?
Are we setting up for an Abu Dhabi?
Well, this is what I was about to question myself. Was if Lando does all that, the next whatever, I think it would come down to an Abu Dhabi shootout between them.
And we've all been here before, folks.
But I think that's what I heard was if he wins, all the rest gets the. And Max was to come second.
Well, we know the gap between first and second is 7 points in it. 8 if to get the fastest lap. Now 7 races left. 7 sevens are 35 plus 21 are 46. No, that doesn't sound right.
He's trying to do quick maths on the fly
Come on,
here.
David Matthews is 49. Now you add in the fastest lap points, obviously that becomes 8, and 7 times 8 is 56.
Yeah.
So if he wins every race, gets every fastest lap, he's done it.
Yes.
Now he didn't get fastest lap this time out because you see how fickle and how easily that can be.
Yeah, but what I mean is.
But that's also worked on the assumption that Max comes second every race.
No, but what I'm saying, if he gets all 7 of the next 7 races, how many have we got left? 7. Yeah.
7.
Right. Well, if he gets all 6, including sprints and fastest laps, I think it'll go into an Abu Dhabi shootout.
Yeah, I'm just going on pure race points. I'm not doing it on. I added sprints and stuff into that.
No, but that's where you've got to add the sprints in. But otherwise, like I say, I think if it's 6 races, sprints and everything like that, I think they'll go level for an Abu Dhabi shootout.
Jesus. Like I say, Abu Dhabi 21 still fresh in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, but we don't have Mr. Massey here now either. I wonder if at one point I will make before we finish. I wonder if we'll see Matey Boy get booted from the FIA. I wonder if we will, because if he's found out to be racist, then that'll go against.
Yeah, they want to take a pretty strong stance on that.
Yeah. Especially when they started this whole. They
usually try and take a pretty strong stance on stuff like that. But...
Yeah, I know, but this is what I mean. If it is found out to be, for him to have been using stuff, I wonder if he'll get booted. Because even like the whole F1 reiterated their point of, do you remember the whole we racers won?
Yep, I remember all that.
Yep, well they brought that back, didn't they, when they were heard about it.
God. I'm sure you'd be shedding a tear if he got kicked off the FIA. So you'd be the first one to.
Won't give 2 shits as long as they don't bring Max Mosley back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bernie Eccleston. What?
I still see he's been appearing at a couple of races, and we may see him again in like the likes of Brazil.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be back. He's just, let's be honest, he's probably the kind of person who can walk onto a grid and just walk straight onto it in tickets.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny. If they brought,
because of who he is, I don't think it's anything.
The problem is he'd never come back, but then we can't say never because he brought bloody Briatore back.
Alright. Yeah, but I didn't realise at the time when I said it that he'd actually been cleared of the charge, which is interesting. But yeah, still, it was very weird when I read that on her.
Yeah, he still should never have been cleared.
He was a bit like, what? Well...
anything else you want to add?
Not really, no. Like I say, sadly, wasn't the thriller we were all hoping for. Like I said, the championship's getting very tasty. Getting closer. McLaren certainly seem to have the momentum, which is the bit that's the difficult one, because I don't know what... Well, I know you're... Actually, yeah, you're going to be a good one to ask, because you are a Red Bull and a McLaren fan.
Yeah.
So in theory, either result works for you.
Yeah.
But what I'm guessing your preference will possibly be to Norris?
Yeah.
But
I
Norris getting his first and being obviously British driver.
If he can do it, then fair play. But if Oscar...
The problem I've got is I think his biggest problem isn't Max. I think his biggest problem is in his own team.
Oscar?
I think if Piastri just keeps taking points off him like Baku.
Yeah. You've got to think Lando didn't have a great quali in Baku.
Part of me still really worried. No. But part of me still really worries that he loses the championship by something like 6 points. Looks back at letting Piastri pass at Hungary.
I see fireworks.
And you saw, it's one of those. Potentially now, hey, bring it on. We've had some fantastic inter-team rivalries over the years. And the thing about Piastri, for a young guy with not a lot of experience, he's got no fear and he's got some real talent.
Wow, look at the dive he did down Leclerc at Baku.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, and Aussie performing well in a McLaren. Bruce would be proud. But no, that's all I've got. Obviously, we've just got the little matter of the
Fantasy League.
Your favourite section of the podcast.
And oh god, yeah. Albon screwed me. Albon screwed me. I'm just gonna reside now. I'm coming last.
Well, you're firmly grasping 4th place.
I'm gonna be, I reckon. Oh, you made a couple of changes, did you?
There's time yet.
Time to you for you.
I've been changing before Baku. I've not changed anything since then. Oh, it's looking more and more likely, isn't it? Let's.
And that's the problem, though. Ryan.
Considering that Ryan had Albon,
didn't do him much damage.
No. It's McLaren. That's what gave him the win with McLaren.
Yeah. Problem.
I have to look at my loadout again and see if I can do something.
I think me and Ryan are gonna have to be changing drivers. If that's gonna be the case. But both me and Ryan will have to change drivers. Otherwise.
Yeah, if Danny Rick does. Game, they said didn't in the rules you'll be penalised.
If Ryan doesn't change Danny Rick, that'll happen.
Don't say anything, hopefully you'll forget. Don't say anything, hopefully you'll forget.
But we can't, obviously I don't want to swap up Danny Ricciardo out until I know the news of whether he's...
Yeah.
Whether he's staying or...
Thing is, you have got a little bit of spare budget as well. You've got an extra couple of millions. You might be able to even go a little bit higher than him. Remember, Colapinto wasn't expensive, and he's so far doing me pretty good numbers.
Oh, David, look at that gap between you and Ryan right now.
I know, it's like 30 points.
Oh. Is that basically a race?
20... Could be, couldn't it?
That's basically a race. That could bind this time by...
You never know, there's time.
I say this time by... in 3 weeks?
Something like that. Yeah, this is where we've got that other weird gap for
weird reasons. Don't know why we've got this massive gap. Was it going to be a race here, or?
We've had this discussion before and we can't figure it out ourselves.
But yeah, might need to do some changes. But I watch it once I know officially that Danny's been dropped.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'll then come back in and have a look.
See what you can do with it.
Yeah. But that's a bugger. But we'll see. So, anything
Good
else?
time, you know, when you want to catch Alan, yeah.
I might catch him.
No, I don't think I have anything else to add. Have you got any other thoughts? Thoughts or theories?
No, not really. Not really.
Well, I guess all that's left to say then is to say thank you to everyone for listening.
Yeah, and putting up with a few of the little issues.
Yeah. This one hasn't. We should be back to normal by the time of the next one, folks, so wouldn't we? We'll have it better sorted though, we'll have it better ironed out.
Because the next one will be the 21st of October.
Yeah, which you'll be hearing, of course, on the 24th.
Huh?
Well, if the race is on the 21st, the podcast will be on the 24th, won't it?
The race on the 20th, 21st, and then release.
Podcast will be on the 23rd, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be the 23rd. And then it'll be just in time for. And then the next one will be. Oh god, it's Mexico. That's a late one. But that'll be back to the normal service. So yeah, obviously.
Well, as normal as we ever get, anyway.
Well, yeah. So thank you to everybody for listening. Don't forget to come over and subscribe to the YouTube so you don't miss any obviously F1 content, gaming content, and shenanigans. Obviously there is a Twitch channel, but you find that via the YouTube. And obviously thank you to David for joining.
Pleasure as always.
And we shall see you for the next one. So until then.
Later, folks.
Excuse me. Goodbye for now.